Woke up to a nice sunny day. Had to get out, but I've been so crippled up last couple days with my muscle disease and the arthritis in the arms and legs and everywhere else. It's not been able to get out in the truck. Trike, I mean. Can't get out and ride the trike, so I thought I'd just come out today, and then I realized this morning that it's Halloween. Well, I've got a Halloween story. Ah, boy, it's good coffee. 1992, that's 32 years ago. Clinket friend of mine, guy I hunted with, name was Danny. Danny and I decided to go deer hunting on Halloween. We left Sitka, went through Sitka Sound, through East Channel up here, kind of ended up Deep Inlet. Gonna climb this mountain up on Deep Inlet. This is the mountain, a little over 2,000 feet, that we were hunting on. We shot the deer up here in this muskeg here, but we came up on this mountain from the back side. This is the Silver Bay side, and so we came up kind of up that ridge there on the right. Probably came in right up in here somewhere from the back side, and climbed up this ridge and got up in here where the deer were. Got the sun in my way, so I can't get a really good shot of it here, but you get an idea. This is Silver Bay side. We were on the Deep Inlet side. We came up in Dan's little skiff and tied the skiff to some trees up there in Deep Inlet and started up the mountain. Mountain's about, well, we started at sea level, and the mountain's about 2,200 feet tall. So we spent most of the day climbing. Anyway, we spent most of the day, climbing up that mountain, and got up there about, must have been about 9, 10 in the morning, and big muskeg up there, almost near the summit of the mountain itself. Started taking out our deer calls and started calling some deer. We ended up calling in 11 deer, and we killed 3 of them. And then we spent quite a few hours up there because we had backpacks. We were, skinning the deer, gutting them out, cutting them up the best we could. So we had 3 deer in our packs, 2 packs. Each of us had a pack. And it was heavy, 50, 60 pounds of meat probably. We started down the mountain, but it was already 3 o'clock. And it was getting dark quick. Now we got down to, I think, about the 1,500 foot level. We may have dropped 500, 600 feet or something. And it got so dark that I could stand here next to a tree, and if there was a tree 6 feet in front of me, I could not see that tree. So here we were, dressed in wool pants, wool shirt, that's what we wore back then. Light jackets go over the top, usually a Helly Hansen rain jacket over the wool shirt. Had a hat. I don't think we had any gloves. Can't remember. Anyway, here we are. We're going to have to bivouac, spend the night. So we finally got a fire started. And we're kind of fortunate because there wasn't any wind that night. And the temperature was running around 40, 42 degrees. Which is a little bit warmer than normal for that altitude and at night. Anyway, it was starting to get cold. I mean, my feet were getting cold. I had extra tufts on and wool socks, but still, I'm starting to get cold. even around that fire. Why, it was something else. We finally got the little fire going, but we didn't bring a flashlight. So we were almost like men groping in the dark blind, trying to find a piece of dry wood somewhere and throw on the fire. And we get the fire going pretty good. And if you ever been in such a situation, you know that you get really close to that little fire, and part of it gets really hot when the backside is freezing. So we'd have to turn around, heat the backside a little bit, and then you start to fall asleep and the fires start to go out. Then you had to get up and go out and grab some more firewood. Get that fire blazing again so you get warm enough. Feet were cold, so we took our extra tufts off and we put our feet up. You know, get our feet warm. Had the boots off. We sit there and watch the steam coming off my off our wool socks. But anyway, pretty soon you'd smell something burning. You had your feet too close to the fire and the wool was catching on fire on our socks. Anyway, we were doing this about every hour, having to go get some more firewood. And Danny, he was afraid of the dark. And I found out later why. He was, well, first thing, we needed to be afraid of the dark because we had our backpacks, you know, right next to us full of deer meat. We were covered with blood and deer smell and everything else. We normally take back then we were all pretty much all using 30-06s and for hunting rifles. I usually used about a 165 grain bullet, but we always carried about a number of 220 grain bullets, big ones, for the Alaska brown bear grizzly, in case you have a bad encounter with one. Well, here we were, 1,500 feet up in the middle of up side of a mountain, with a whole bunch of deer meat, and we all smell like deer. Everything smells like deer, and we're worried that some bear might show up. So we've got our guns loaded, one in the chamber, leaning up next to us, you know, just in case a bear shows up. But what a night. I'll tell you, I spent the whole night picking up firewood, start to fall asleep. You wake up because the fire's going out and you got to go find some more wood. I don't know, it must have been 10, 12 times during the night we had to get up, find some wood. And no water, you know. We didn't have any water. We'd used it up. And we were on this kind of a hogback little ridge. And it's dark. I'm thirsty. And you can hear water trickling down below us, down in a gulch. I had no way to get down in there. That was about the thirstiest I ever been in my life. I mean, to hear that water all night long and not have a drop to drink. Gosh. But anyway, Danny was afraid of the dark. Besides, you know, both of us are nervous about the bears anyway, but he started telling me a story about his dad. And his dad was a commercial fisherman. And one night he decided that he was going to spend the night out instead of coming home. And he spent the night, took the boat up in a place called Thomas Bay. And if you, you know, Google or Bing Thomas Bay, Alaska, you'll learn that there's some very strange things went on in that bay and still do. So he decided he was going to stay overnight. Thomas Bay. Now, Alaska natives have this kind of story about little people that live under the ground, under rocks and trees and whatever, and they live down under the ground, and they'll come out at night, they'll grab people and kidnap women or whatever they want to do. They're called little people. Well, anyway, Daddy's dad, he falls asleep in the boat, in the captain's chair, you know, inside his boat. He's got his light on, his heat going. Got his Dickerson stove producing some heat. He's just kind of dozing off. So anyway, this is what he told Dan. He says, I woke up because something was pulling on my legs and arms. finally he woke up enough. He said that the little people had come aboard his boat, and they had come inside his cabin there, and they were trying to pull him out of his chair. And he fought them. He said he fought these little people until he finally got them all outside the door of the cabin of the boat there, and he locked it. He sat in there, and he had a gun. He actually got his gun out. He sat there and he waited until daylight, and he looked, and he couldn't see him anywhere, so that's when he went outside, pulled anchor, and left. But Dan, he was really scared of the dark. He was scared that the little people, you know, were going to come up underneath those rocks around us and come out from behind trees or something. He's the most scared person I ever saw in the dark. That was kind of unusual. Here in southeast Alaska, when we hunt deer, we use what's called a deer call, and it's made out of a couple slots of wood, like a whistle. Put some rubber band or cape around or whatever, and blow it, and it makes a loud screaming little sound. So it kind of sounds like I think it's supposed to be a fawn in distress, but it seems to call in bucks, does, doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it calls in bears too, and also when we're hunting all the time, you have to kind of watch it, because the bears around here, they know gunshots during hunting season, and to them it's a dinner bell. Essentially, it just tells them that somebody has shot a deer, and you may got your deer out or whatever and leave the gut pile, and then the brown bears show up and eat it. I remember one time I was over on Cruise Off Island with somebody hunting, and shot a deer and on the edge of a muskeg, and got it out the deer, and we always took the heart and the liver because I love to eat it. But anyway, left my knife. And we walked across a muskeg, and it couldn't have been more than, my gosh, 100 yards, if that. I realized I left my knife. So I turned around, run back there real quick, looked around, the gut pile was gone. But I could see the skid mark where it was dragged over the side of the hill into the bushes. My knife was still there, so I grabbed it. But a bear had been watching us probably, and had grabbed that gut pile as soon as we got out of sight. So you got to kind of watch it when you shoot deer in this country. I know a lot of people, they're against hunting, whatever, but oh my gosh, these southeast Alaska deer are so tasty. Oh, just love them. Anyway, we were, spending the night, either like this around the fire, or sitting back a little bit because the fire's going big, and we're turning around like a chicken on a spit, trying to stay warm on every side. And we could hear a boat down below, deep inlet. And what had happened is that when we didn't show up at home, Danny's girlfriend had called a friend who had a commercial fishing boat. So we figured that was him running up and down deep inlet. We could hear him down there. And they blow their horn on their boat once in a while. And one time we got out and shot our guns. And we found out later they didn't even hear the gunshots from where they were. But anyway, we were there trying to stay warm and keeping an eye out for bear and stuff. And it started to get light enough to see, so that's when we started to gather everything up. Anyway, we started to gather up all our stuff. It was one of the strangest things I'd ever seen, because it was so dark. We were kind of like groping, looking for firewood, but for about 100 feet in any direction, all the way around us, was totally cleared of any firewood or anything that would burn. It was one of the strangest things. We spent the whole night clearing the woods around us of anything that was dead or anything we could break with our hands. We didn't have any axe, we didn't have any saw, we didn't have anything. So we finally loaded up all our stuff and started down the mountain. Nowadays they've got all this fancy equipment, new fancy guns everybody wants. We use pretty much basic things. 30-06 was a pretty basic rifle for Alaska for a long time. I got, Dry Plus, and you've got all this fancy lightweight gear and packs, and you know, we started out hunting here. All I wore was wool. And one thing about wool, when it gets wet, it will keep you warm. You know, we were wearing wool on top of that mountain that night. I don't know if we were wearing the synthetic stuff, if we'd done as well. Because even though we'd been sweating and things were wet, we still stayed warm up there. You know, even though there's water everywhere in this country, I mean, you could drink water out of a muskeg pool and it wouldn't hurt you any. But, you know, that night caught up here on that mountain with no water, and I couldn't get water because it was down a steep, rocky gully. Might be a good idea to keep a little bit in your canteen, you know. Sure would have tasted good that night. We had taken, you know, snacks, cheese, sandwiches, and all kinds of different things with us when we went hunting, but we didn't expect to spend the night out either. So by late morning, you know, I mean late night and early morning, the old stomach was starting to grumble a little bit. Might be a good idea to take a little extra food with you. During the night, Danny's girlfriend got nervous, called the Coast Guard. So we're starting down the ridge, down to where our boat is. We can hear a Coast Guard helicopter coming. And we got just down to the boat, and the helicopter was right there looking at us, you know. And so we waved them off, tried to explain to them, too many deer in the pack. You know, just couldn't get out of the mountain there before it got dark on us. We weren't lost. I mean, we knew where we were at. There wasn't any place we were going to go, whether it was up or down or whatever. So there was no place to get lost. But anyway, that was our time spending in the woods. When we got down to the boat down there, that's when the boat came over from the friends that were running up and down Deep Inlet in their fishing boat. And they had fixed, there's some friends of Danny's, and they'd fixed pancakes and eggs for us. So we just kind of went over to their boat and had breakfast, you know. And instead of taking the skiff back to town, they just pulled us back and whatever. But hey, that was all on Halloween night. So that's my Halloween night story, being up in the mountains. Cold. We were a little damp because you sweat a lot from packing heavy stuff around. But what did I learn from it? Number 1, take gloves. Number 2, take an extra shirt. Number 3, take a flashlight. So there are a few things. Number 4, tell the guy's girlfriend don't call the Coast Guard until the next day. So anyway, that's my story for Halloween. Happy Halloween.